Good morning and welcome to Ireland AM on Virgin Media 1.
It is Thursday, the 22nd of August. Thank you so much for joining us, and we've got lots on the way.
Absolutely. First up, we will be celebrating the life and legacy of legendary journalist, author and feminist campaigner Nell McCafferty at 7:15.
We certainly will. Also, we're going to be diving into the day's big news stories, including a possible, here we go, we're talking about this all the time, a total ban on phones in secondary schools. We're assuming this is just for the students and not the teachers. I don't know if they'd be giving them up. So what do you think? Would you be happy if your kids were going off to school, you had no way of contacting them like the old days, but they wouldn't be distracted inside in class? 0896 111 111. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're a teacher, what do you make of it?
Footballer Jamie Finn is going to be talking World Cup heartache, her drive to get to Euro 2025 and helping her mum battle illness.
Yeah, and also if you think that we're matching, we've got more matching. We have synced up clothes-wise. Good morning, Alan.
It's all the Blue Brigade over here this morning, yeah. Yeah, lots more to come, including Alberto Rossi, is making...
Is he in blue? He actually is in blue,
Is he in blue as well? Alberto is going to be making some lamb pasta in the kitchen. We've got a capsule wardrobe on the catwalk, and from trailblazing women to debut directors, we've got it all in this week's movie slot. Tell us more, Brian.
Yes, we're going to be talking about Mrs. Robinson, which is the new feature-length documentary about Mayor Robinson, and we're going to be talking about Blink Twice, which is Zoe Kravitz's directorial debut.
And I saw a bit of a trailer of it. Looks quite good.
Yeah, it's kind of like Get Out. Like, it's all about, like, missing memory and all that kind of jazz. So, yeah, very cool.
OK, Deric's all the way down in Tipperary. It's a long way to Tipperary. Deric, what's happening down there this morning?
It is indeed. We're following our trip to Foynes in Limerick yesterday. We've landed here in the heart of the Munster Vales in Tipperary. Now it is a very windy start out there this morning, some night showers to start, then cloud building with more heavy rain in across Connacht through the southwest later on today. So a bit of a bumpy ride off the tail end of Hurricane Ernesto that we saw hit the States a couple of days ago across the pond in the Atlantic. So we've all that to deal with over the coming hours. Now we've landed here in the beautiful townland of Dualla here in Tipperary. Of course, they have their agriculture show kicking off this weekend. They have everything from pony jumping to monster trucks to livestock, and we're going to be catching up with some of the locals here on the ground, including former Irish and international rugby star Dennis Leamy. I believe there's either an arm wrestle or there's a finger wrestle with Dennis Leamy, who knows? But we'll make it happen. Good morning for Tip.
That's all I want from my Thursday. Finger wrestling with Dennis Leamy. That's it, Deric. You've made the show. That's it. That's it. Coming up on Ireland AM, we're going to be paying tribute to feminist campaigner Nell McCafferty, who passed away yesterday.
Plus, we look at this morning's other big stories, including more big price increases to your health insurance premiums. We'll see you after the break.
Welcome back. Now, this morning, we're going to pay tribute to a remarkable person whose voice and vision touched countless lives. Nell McCafferty, a passionate journalist and tireless activist, dedicated her life to uncovering the truth and advocating for justice.
Her unwavering commitment to the causes she believed in made a lasting impression on the country. And joining us now to celebrate the life and legacy of Nell McCafferty is Ellen Coyne and Ivana Batic. You're both very welcome this morning.
Good morning.
Ellen, you might just tell us, why is it she's so revered in some journalism circles and some of her backstory?
I think that Nell McCafferty is, without dispute, one of the greatest journalists that Ireland was ever lucky enough to produce, male or female. She, over the course of her career, which started in 1970, she was a tireless civil rights campaigner for the North. She drew attention and she stirred consciousness towards issues like the plight of working class women in Ireland. She was a major feminist campaigner, a founding member of the Irish Women's Liberation Movement, and a protagonist in one of the most rabble-rousing, glorious eras of Irish feminism. She was involved in landmark, I suppose, stunts like the contraception train. And she had this well-earned persona as this kind of like trailblazer. But I suppose what we should also focus on in the fact that she was just such a staggering talent as well. Like, we're so lucky that she's left behind this incredible body of work. Her book on the Kerry babies, I think, is probably one of the best journalism books ever written in this country. And she had this fantastic, authoritative voice of conscience in between this beautiful turn of phrase that she had, because people forget she was such a gifted writer as well. She really, sometimes people think that journalism is a collection of facts, but when Nell McCafferty wrote it, it was actually the truth, which is a very different thing. And we're very lucky that we had her witnessing some of the most important moments in the social history of this country.
you put that so beautifully, you know, that how she wrote, but it was the truth. Ivana, you knew her on a very personal level, but you also like used her writing when you were teaching in college. What was she like as a person? Because there seem to be many different sides of Nell McCafferty.
There were so many different sides of Nell, and Ellen has expressed her impact so eloquently. I do just first, though, want to say just how sad it is to hear the news of her passing, and to express my own sympathies and condolences to her sister, to her niece, to all of her family on the sad news. I did know her personally. She was great fun. She had a great warmth of character. She had a great sense of divilment. She was always on for a row, but she had this incredible writing style, as you've said, Ellen, such passion in her writing. And when I was a relatively new law lecturer in Trinity, I prescribed her writing on the courts, on criminal justice. I prescribed that for my criminal law students because her account of day-to-day cases in the Dublin District Court, which she wrote and published in the early 80s, that account remains such a searing expose of sort of daily injustice, of the grind of poverty, of the sort of experiences of people every day. In the Eyes of the Law, that book I hope will be republished. Superb journalism, superb writing. And I think Nell does deserve to be remembered for her writing, her passion in exposing injustice in the Kerry Babies case in the district courts, as well as for her feminist activism. And of course I came to know her well through that. She was one of the very few journalists who stood with me and my fellow students in the late 80s when we were threatened with prison for giving women information on abortion and women in crisis pregnancy at a time when that provision of information itself was illegal. And Nell stood with us steadfastly, and we remained friends then all through the years. She was, of course, a constituent of mine in Ranelagh until she moved to the nursing home more recently. And we had some great fun together. I still remember a night, I've told the story of dancing with Nell in Lily's Bordello when she had got the advance for her autobiography.
Sorry, hold on. The cash gets into the account and she's straight out in the tiles.
But she was such fun, and she had this superb sense of just enjoyment and of pleasure and sociability, and yet at the same time could be quite shy at times. But you know, those interviews she's given over the years on the late show and so on, never afraid to confront injustice, to expose injustice, and indeed to challenge what was conventional wisdom about women in particular in the 80s, you know, when she was really forging such a sometimes lonely path, but such an important one. So she's made a real difference in Irish life.
Yeah, Ellen, that was something that kind of struck me, I suppose, for people our age who weren't around for a contemporary of hers, or as she was writing at the time, that a lot of her views and a lot of the stuff she wrote about now is kind of just, you know, commonly accepted. That we maybe only got to that point because of people like Nell McCafferty.
Absolutely, and like if you think about things like the referendum on the 8th Amendment, which of course Ivana was so involved in and instrumental in campaigning for, that was a difficult campaign. But it's important for us to remember that the people who were advocating for yes or writing about the pro-choice movement, it was nowhere near as perilous as it was for someone like Nell McCafferty back in the 80s. And I think if you look back at the Kerry Babies, the introduction of the 8th Amendment, the Anne Lovett case, the fact that Nell McCafferty was there, she was so good at bearing witness to things and noticing things. And the thing that made her such an excellent journalist is that she had so much humanity in her writing. Like if you read, I think it was decades later when I read the part in her Kerry Babies book where she's talking about local farmers in Kerry coming out and protesting at the way that Joanne Hayes was being treated and the way that she was being sedated at the trial. And the way Nell described it as like these devoutly Catholic men, she felt like she was witnessing a page of history turning and the end of this kind of valley of the squinting windows. And that takes real skill to witness something like that and to make it so meaningful and to write about it like that so quickly. And that is such a rare talent. And I agree with Ivana, like it's such a shame that some of her books are so hard to find because they're spectacular, like they're brilliant. And I would really hope that we've got such a rush now of people trying to remember her properly and pay her the respect that she deserves. I would love if it was easier for younger people to be able to access some of that incredible writing.
Because they did do, the Irish Times did a phenomenal job where she worked for so many years. And it has been pointed out for a woman like Nell McCafferty from the Bogside to go into the Irish Times, this reputable, you know, establishment of Irish life, to go in and say, yeah, give me a job, I'm going to write these things that you've never seen in these pages before. That she was fantastic, but she was alive when they did this 80th tribute to her.
Right, yeah.
And the people who just wanted to kind of go, you're a legend. Like that is amazing, because she really was. But there was a sense that she could be quite intimidating to some people sometimes. Like, you wouldn't want to go against her.
Oh, and she delighted in provoking.
Did.
She really
like
did.
Herself and Vincent Brown, we showed some stuff there. Like, they were great crack together. Watching them together.
Oh, absolutely.
She'd go for it.
She would go for it. But she made real impacts too. And again, we shouldn't forget that. I'm thinking in particular of that an earlier abortion referendum in 2002, where Nell made a pivotal intervention at a press conference very late in the day, coming up towards the vote itself on the referendum. This was a referendum where the government of the day were seeking to restrict abortion even more, rule out suicide risk as a ground for abortion. And Nell challenged the male masters of the maternity hospitals at a press conference, asking them, would they not wish to intervene if a woman faced the awful prospect of a fatal fetal abnormality? And the masters confessed they would. And it completely overturned the government's case for the referendum, which was then defeated. So that's the sort of intervention she made, and that's the impact that her challenging of conventional wisdom had, you know, not just in the 80s, but beyond. So when we look back at Nell's legacy, I think we must remember that too, that she had, indeed, like Vincent Brown, a keen reporter's eye and a keen sense of how to ask a forensic question. So that was really important too, not only in her writing, but in her you know, in her media appearances. So, but certainly could be intimidating if you were on the wrong end of, no doubt about that.
I would imagine. But it's like rock star journalism, wasn't it? Like, she's there with like smoking a fag on the Late Late Show. You know, we've all seen those clips on Reeling in the Years, and you're like, lads, it was just a different time, but it was so much.
The kind of journalist you don't really see the make of anymore either. You know, it's very sanitised now, and whereas she.
Do you want to take out a cigarette, Ellen? Do you want to just go for it here?
Yeah, maybe it's time for that. Somebody said to me yesterday that Reeling in the Years, you'll see so much Nell on Reeling in the Years.
Yeah, it was on last night already.
Yeah, she was on, as it turns out, last night, because her interventions were so key, and because she was saying what was unsayable for so many at the time. And like I say, that vivid memory of her backing us as students in the late 80s, when we were being spat at on the street because we were seen as being pro-choice and pro-information, which we were. And now that's not controversial, as you've said, Ellen. In fact, even by 2018, when we did finally vote to repeal the Eighth Amendment, by then it had become much less controversial to speak out and be pro-choice. Back in the late 80s, it was really still a very, very difficult thing for people to say, and Nell was really steadfast on that. So I think she'll be remembered for just staying true to her principles, and even when you didn't agree with her, for being so passionate in expressing those views and principles.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ivana Bacik, leader of the Labour Party, Ellen Coyne from the UNO, thanks a million for joining us this morning to remember Nell McCafferty.
Thanks so much, guys. She's going to take out the cigarettes in a second. Now, after the break, we've got the latest on today's top stories, including plans by the Minister for Education, Norma Foley, to ban smartphones in secondary schools. Of course, cigarettes are bad.
Plus, from documentaries to dramas, we're running through some of the week's best watches.
Talk to you in a minute. It's time now to take a look at this morning's papers. We're going to start with the Irish Times. The headline there: opposition parties prepare for November election. Opposition parties are in the midst of extensive general election preparations, with posters already ordered and comprehensive manifestos nearing completion.
Health cover hikes pricing out families at peak renewal time. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. Fears are growing that families will be priced out of health insurance cover after VHI became the latest insurer to raise its prices.
The Daily Mail has a similar story this morning. €500 price hike for VHI family. Thousands of VHI health insurance customers face a second price hike this year, bringing a total increase of €500 to some families' annual bill.
Sunk yacht tycoon's body found is the top story on The Sun. Hopes of finding any survivors on the sunken super yacht Bayesian were dashed last night as 5 bodies were found off Sicily.
And the Mirror says, we are not murderers. A couple arrested over the murder of pensioner Josephine Ray in Tipperary insisted we are innocent.
The Star also leads with that story. We did not kill my mother is the headline.
The Herald says, man charged in Keane case fears for safety. A man accused of impeding the investigation into the murder of teenager Keane Mulready Woods has concerns for his safety in prison, a court has heard.
And the Examiner leads with phones could be banned at second level. The Minister for Education has raised the prospect of an outright ban on mobile phones in secondary schools.
Joining us with that and the morning's other stories are Hugh O'Connell, political editor of the Sunday Times, and Orla Ryan, news correspondent with the Journal.ie. Good morning. It's lovely to have you both here. Let's start with that first story, Hugh. Phones could be banned at secondary level because there was a circular put out already for primary schools.
Yeah, well, I think this is sort of something which schools are already adopting on a voluntary basis, where I think there's, in Greystones, a bunch of schools got together and decided we're going to implement this idea of getting students to put their phones in little bags or put them in their lockers and not allow them at all during school time. But now Norma Foley, the Education Minister, is talking about something a bit more strict in terms of basically, I guess, mandating schools to say that students can't bring in their smartphones to schools, or at the very least they can't have them on their person whilst they're going around the corridors and into classrooms and stuff. And I think this is in response to growing body of research globally that these smartphones are having a hugely detrimental effect on young children and their mental health, and on adolescents and their mental health. But also kind of having all sorts of secondary effects in terms of changing their attitudes towards women, for example. Young males being kind of toxified by the likes of Andrew Tate and all these kind of people who have very terrible views about women. And this is just one of the issues, I think, which has arisen over the last few years, and it's really kind of moved at great pace. And so now I think the government is typically coming in at the time when the genie's already out of the bottle, but nonetheless it's never too late to do the right thing in some instances.
I wonder, does this actually impact any of that though, Orla? Because surely if they're looking up that kind of stuff, they're just going to do it at home anyway. And there'll be a lot of parents who will say, look, I need to get in contact with my kid if I'm going to be late, if I can't pick them up, if they're going to need to walk home themselves or whatever. So they need to have a phone on them, if not in class, after school at least.
They've said that, and Norma Foley actually has an op-ed on the Journal this morning, and she's kind of outlined some of the practical reasons, she said, or practical implications of this. She said parents can still call the school office. Maybe some parents won't be happy with that. They said there will be some exceptions. So say, for example, if a child has diabetes and uses their phone to check their glucose levels, their blood sugar, they can still use their phone. Okay. So if a child needs their phone, they can still use it. But then children might be saying perhaps they need their phone when they don't need their phone. So it's a little bit of a grey area, and then that puts a lot of pressure on schools and on individual teachers about whether or not they're allowed their phone. If one child is allowed their phone and then another child sees this and isn't happy about it.
0896 111 111, we would love to hear from you on this one, because according to one UN report, it can take students up to 20 minutes to refocus after they have been distracted by a notification on their phone.
Or more than half the class, depending on what school you're in. So you could waste a lot of time.
Like I'm assuming for teachers, they're sitting there going, yeah, can we please take them out of the classroom because nothing's getting done? I suppose from that point of view, there must be huge frustration from teachers with this.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that's why you've seen schools kind of do it on a voluntary basis and have their own policies unique to them. But now we're talking about something more national, I think, and to sort of, to have a policy, as Orla says, to deal with those kind of grey areas where some students might need them for health reasons, to check their glucose levels or whatever. But I guess, the thing about it is that, when I was going to school, there weren't smartphones, and you didn't generally have a phone on your person, and your parents called the school office if they wanted to. Yeah, because
teachers are saying that even if the phone's in the bag and on silent, that there's a constant hum of vibration of the phones in the bag, so people might not be looking at them.
Even that can be distracting.
Well, you could put an air tag, or one of those tags on your kid. Like you could just I keep saying it.
Good,
I'm not joking. Yeah. You can just attach it to a belt loop.
You're like, they're still alive. They're still there.
They're still there. You can literally track them.
Do we need all that? You're saying we grew up without any of that, and we're mostly fine.
I totally get that. But if you are kind of going, you're worried about the world and the news.
First the AirTag, then the microchip, and
there you go. Just
build up from there.
That's it. That's what it is. Just saying, you might need the phone for that. We'd love to hear from you, and from teachers as well. 0896 111 111. Already there's no one to teach, and now they're like, we'd like to get their attention.
But interesting as well that the National Association for Principals and Deputy Principals said there's little appetite for a ban. I presume because they don't want to have to enforce it and police it and be chasing kids.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, asking teachers to do extra things around enforcement and that kind of thing might typically draw the eye.
I think, is it worth my
reviewing
hassle that I get into a fight?
To get into a fight with
child
the kid.
over a phone.
It also
That's
takes
just-
up 10 minutes of the class.
Exactly.
And then,
Yeah, but you'd think like after 2 months, it's the sort of thing that would just come naturally. There you go, put your phone
Well,
in here.
you'd think so, and I think where schools have done this voluntarily, it does seem to have had an enormous benefit, not only to the mental health of the children, but also the school in general is running a lot better and more efficiently because they're not having to deal with all these issues of kids pulling out their phone.
Parents have to be on the side of teachers on this one. That's the issue.
Well, they
I
do
think,
as
with
well,
that.
and you see the other thing as well is that if one child has a phone or 2 children have a phone, then the other wants a phone.
Yeah.
And so it does create this situation. Whereas if no one has a phone, then it's an equal playing field.
There we go. Okay, let's go over. We just saw it on all the headlines there. We're talking about health hikes in relation to insurance, Orla. It's quite a lot of money.
Yeah, so VHI are hiking their prices for the second time this year. Leia's already done that, and so has Irish Life. So for some people, it will mean a hike of about €50 per year. For other people, it could be a couple of €100. Charlie Weston, writing in the Indo this morning, is saying that if you have a family of 2 adults and 2 children, you could be paying up to €450 extra per year after the 2 hikes. So it's about a 3.5% hike, or that's the average. But some people could be looking at an extra couple of €100 per year for their health insurance.
Yeah, and these have just been going up and up again, Hugh. I mean, we've seen it with the rivals, with Leia, with VHI. But you're also seeing, like, particularly, and I'm thinking of the phone providers as well, where now they're all on this new thing where every year your bill goes up linked to the CPI.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Where you've got these small industries where there's only a few players. They're all kind of almost working together to increase the price at the same time. It looks like.
Well, it does. Look, I'm sure they deny that, and there's not necessarily anything wrong.
It's coincidence that it's all going up at the same time at the same rate.
Well, you would, I mean, that's
totally.
what we have to.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what
is there a rationale for it? Like, what is getting more expensive
what
for
they're
them
saying
that
is
they're
that there's
passing
been a jump in the cost and volume of claims from members. So you more claims, that does generally tend to drive up premiums. So I think that's what they're saying is the main driver of it, that people are putting in for more, they're having more procedures done at private hospitals, and there are more claims. Now, I don't know, I mean, we know all about the public health service in this country and the issues that have been faced with that. We have a growing population. The population's grown a lot over the last few years in particular. So all of these things are partly driving that. But you're right, I mean, it is almost becoming like your phone bill, which does seem to go up by €5 or €10 a year every year. And I think the other thing as well is that consumers, I find health insurance very confusing in terms of what it is I'm signing up to, and then suddenly I get it, I use healthcare, or I use the health service for myself, for my wife, for my daughter, and you put in a claim and then they're like, oh, this isn't covered, or we only cover half of this or a third of this. So it's all very confusing for people, and I think that's one of the things that, but they feel that they have to have it just in case something catastrophic happens.
And we're
they
told,
need that covered.
oh, have it.
Yeah.
We've got free healthcare, but make sure
And
you've got your private health
that's why we
insurance.
have, I think, nearly half the population do have private health insurance, but they're not inclined to shop around for these things. I mean, I don't shop around. I have a policy. I did move because of a change in job and all these kind of things, but in general, I think people aren't shopping around to the degree to which they are, and it's the same with phone companies as well. So that doesn't lead to necessarily these companies having to compete with each other on price.
Thank you for saying it's confusing, because I feel really stupid when it comes to healthcare sometimes. I'm like, why doesn't it cover that? 0896 111 111, what's the situation in your family? Because so many of us have private health insurance, but does it actually cover what you need? And will you keep it with these increases? Because with inflation, like, it's just absolutely crazy. 0896 111 111 to get in contact. Thank you so much. Hugh O'Connell, political editor of the Sunday Times. The change in job there that he had to change his health insurance, and Orla Ryan, news correspondent with the Journal.ie. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks, guys.
Now, coming up, we've got thrillers and documentaries when we're talking about movies.
Yeah, we'll see you after the break.
Welcome back from a fascinating documentary about Ireland's first female president to a new thriller starring Channing Tatum. Do you know what? Loads to watch.
There is loads to watch, and Brian Lloyd is here to tell us all about it. Good morning to you, Brian. We're starting with Mrs. Robinson. Tell us about this.
Yes, so this is the documentary on the life and times of President Mary Robinson. It's all about her early career as a lawyer for the Irish Women's Liberation Movement, how she was involved with that.
She speaks about Nell McCafferty.
She speaks about Nell McCafferty, and Nell McCafferty features in archival interviews, goes through to her election. Obviously that was very poignant moment in Irish history, the fact that she was up against Brian Lenihan and basically the establishment, through to her career as president, then on to UN Human Rights Commissioner, and then finally to Chair of the Elders.
OK, let's have a quick look at Mrs. Robinson.
I remember spending a lot of time looking out this window. I would look out on the river from my bedroom and dream dreams. They were dreams about making life fairer.
Mary is the most indefatigable woman I have ever met.
A strong, feisty, spirited person that goes in and fights for people that need support.
I'm not sure anybody can keep up with them. She must be Irish.
There comes a time where an individual has to take a stand and be prepared to pay a price for taking that stand.
Great old
and there's a lot of
there.
there's a lot of like home footage as well, like of her from her wedding day, her from like as a child growing up in Ballina and all the rest of it. Like it's quite full on in the sense of like you really do get a sense of her entire life, and also as well I think how kind of inspirational she was for women. And I mean that's something I know myself. My sister-in-law became a barrister or became a solicitor because of her.
Mary Robinson.
Yeah, she went to the same college and everything. Like so, like she is a hugely influential woman. It does kind of take in some of her kind of less than stellar moments. Like, for example, there is that moment where she was involved with Sheikha Latifah Al Maktoum in Dubai. That comes into it.
This was about an alleged kidnapping.
And that she was
complicated.
very, very complicated. They do kind of touch on it. They don't go into a great amount of detail. It makes sense. They also talk about the fact that she left the presidency, you know, just before her term was up to go to the UN Human Rights Commission. And, you know, you have people like Dermot Ferreter, for example, talking about that and saying, like, maybe her, you know, her vanity got the better of her or whatever. But, you know, all that said, it's very much, you know, about her life and times and how inspirational she was.
But then isn't that amazing that it isn't just a vanity project?
No.
Just, look, amn't I great?
Yeah.
It is an all-encompassing view of who this woman was.
Exactly.
That
and
changed
her
the
work.
country.
Yeah. Oh, no. Literally dragged Ireland out of the dark ages.
And I did hear an interview with the director, and she was saying that Mary did give her carte blanche on it. There was no like, well, if I'm doing this, you have to do it this way. So they spent hours with her, took all the footage and put it together. There was no like, do this, this and this. So she was happy with the way it out.
And the woman who directed it as well, she did this great documentary called 1 Million Dubliners, which was all about Glasnevin Cemetery. Yeah. Great documentary. So
Aoife Kelleher.
Yeah, Aoife Kelleher, that's right, yeah. So really worth the watch.
What are you going to give it?
Like 3.5, 4 to 5, yeah. It's in cinemas, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Wonderful to see. Now we're going to move on to Blink Twice. This is the movie where Channing Tatum met his fiancée, Zoe Kravitz. What's it about? She directs it.
She directs it and writes it as well. Channing Tatum plays this tech billionaire who's bought this private island and turned it into this luxury resort. He meets Naomi Ackie. People might know her from the Whitney Houston biopic. Invites her to the island. They're all having, you know, great fun and all the rest of it. Eiza Gonzalez is there as well. Aaliyah Shawkat is there. That's her mate. But as she's going along, she's starting to lose days one by one and realise that maybe something might be going on the island and, you know, maybe it's not out.
But she's on an island. She needs to get off the island. Let's have a look. See, I'd love this.
Yeah, very like Get Out.
Yeah.
If you saw Get Out, if you enjoyed Get Out, it's very, very similar to that. Very kind of stylish. Has a lot of like humour to it. It's almost quite self-aware as well. Like there's a whole kind of joke about the fact that all these women have come to this island. They're like, we should have known better not to cinemas.
Good stuff.
Virgin Media.
Yes.
That's us.
That's us here.
Everyone in the room. New season
launch
is today. New show, Dead and Buried, which is this crime drama that's going to be on Virgin Media.
Written by Colin Bateman.
Yes.
Who's amazing. He's such a good author. He's so funny.
So good. There's also Gra and Tra season 2. That's starting back. They also have Gogglebox season 10.
Yeah, 10th year of Gogglebox.
10th year of Gogglebox.
Lucy Kennedy's back with a new show.
Lucy Kennedy is back with a new show, Real Life with Lucy. Yeah. And of course, Ireland AM, 25 years.
25 years of Ireland AM, sitting here talking rubbish. But I have to say, Dead and Buried looked great. We were looking at the tapes yesterday of it, and it looked
interesting, doesn't it? Yeah, I have to say, it looks pretty good. Yeah.
And loads of documentaries as well. Women Locked Up, Ireland's Most Dangerous Hospital, Borders and Lies.
And Generation Rent as well. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see that one. Yeah, because I think that's something that like is not talked about enough, is the rent crisis and the fact that, you know, there's an entire generation of people just locked out of home ownership.
Oh, what's going on there? And then Alan Hughes. Alan Hughes is 25.
Alan Hughes
that's essentially
is 25,
what it's all about.
and you don't look a day over it. You look 24.
Do you know what I said yesterday? It was amazing that, like, Ireland AM 25 years ago gave a chance for a 10-year-old to present a show.
I know, right? Just wheeled you out, yeah? You just came straight from the Billy Barrys and you were like, right, let's go.
Lots of great stuff on Virgin Media, and of course the new Playtime coming up there.
Billy Barrys.
Straight Billy Barrys into R&DM. Brian Lloyd, thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much. Still to come this morning, actor Brendan Gleeson shares his thoughts on the Irish language reaching international audiences.
Plus, we're learning about lavender with Forager Phoebe. Stay tuned. We'll see you in a few minutes.
On Ireland AM, we've teamed up with Breast Cancer Ireland to give away a his and hers Fitbit and entry to the Very Pink Run every day this week. The 2024 Very Pink Run is back again with an option for participants to take part in either one or all three of our physical Very Pink Run live events. Being held in Dublin on the 31st of August, Kilkenny on the 1st of September, or Cork on the 8th of September. You can run, jog, or stroll, something for everyone. Every fun-filled step taken as a part of the Very Pink Run is a step closer to saving lives. A fun-filled experience for you and a powerful act for those affected by breast cancer. For more information, visit verypinkrun.ie. For your chance to win, just answer this question. How many colours are in the rainbow? A, 2, B, 7. To enter, call 1550 999 333 or text WIN to 57199. Best of luck.
Now it's time to look at this morning's papers. We're going to start with the Irish Times. The headline there, opposition parties prepare for November election. Opposition parties are in the midst of extensive general election preparations with posters, you know what, they're already ordered, and comprehensive manifestos. They are near completion.
Health cover hikes pricing out families at peak renewal time. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. Fears are growing that families will be priced out of health insurance cover after VHI became the latest insurer to yet again raise its prices.
The Daily Mail has a similar story, €500 price hike for VHI family. Thousands of VHI health insurance customers face a second price hike this year, bringing a total increase of €500 to some families' annual bill.
Sunk yacht tycoon's body found is the top story on The Sun. Hopes of finding any survivors on the sunken super yacht Beijing were dashed last night as 5 bodies were found off the Sicily coast.
The Mirror goes with "We are not murderers." A couple arrested over the murder of pensioner Josephine Ray in Tipperary insisted we are innocent.
The Star also leads with that story. "We did not kill my mother" is the headline.
The Herald says man charged in Keane case fears for safety. A man accused of impeding the investigation into the murder of teenager Keane Mulready Woods has concerns for his safety in prison, a court has heard.
And the Examiner leads with "phones could be banned at second level." The Minister for Education has raised the prospect of an outright ban on mobile phones in secondary schools.
And lots of text coming in this morning about those topics that you've seen in the papers and we were talking about earlier on. The VHI hiking their prices, and Trina says, "I've shopped around recently before renewing health insurance. However, I was informed if you had a pre-existing condition, this wouldn't be covered for 2 years. Therefore, you're caught as any slight inkling that you've been to a doctor, you could be sunk, and I had to stay with my existing provider." One thing I never do is shop around, but I actually phoned VHI, who I'm with, and I said, "I'm going to move. If you don't give me a better deal, what are my options?" And I actually got a better option, a better plan for, I think it was €70 cheaper.
Wow.
That's brilliant.
So you just have to talk to them. And I don't think I don't know if it was mentioned, but I did hear it on the radio yesterday that VHI and some of the others are reducing the cost of children being covered.
Okay.
So ask about that. Like phone them and ask and go, what is on offer? What I'm going to have to move. I can't afford this. What can you do for me? What plan can I go on?
Yeah, you can get the time to actually ring them because they do have to run you through all the different policies. And everything. And I think actually, because the pre-existing cover thing is something that'll affect me if I ever have to try and switch because I've had a cancer diagnosis. But I know with some providers you can get a thing where they will exempt from that. So it's worth having the conversation anyway before you move. So if you now it's entirely at their discretion; they don't have to do it for you. But if you are moving, or if you're in a corporate policy, say, and they move, they can often do a thing to say, yeah, you can move over without the pre-existing condition. So worth having the conversation.
I never do it. I just let things roll on. But I said, no, I'm going to pick up the phone and chat to them. And they were lovely. And and the girl who was there said, yeah, do you know what? I can get you a better deal.
0896 111 111 if you want to get in contact on health insurance. We were also talking about Education Minister Norma Foley looking for an outright ban on the use of mobile phones in secondary schools. Some places have already implemented this, so it could be seen that she's jumping on the bandwagon. But Kate says 100% agree with phones being banned in all schools. Also, they should be banned in the workplace.
Oh.
We wouldn't get along very well if it was banned in the workplace. We
No, well,
constantly
I
on.
need it. For
Well,
the,
I need it.
I need it.
I need it.
Muireann's phone is attached to her here every morning.
But anyone could also say, you know, a student could be like, I need it for my maths.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
the interesting-
there's Suzanne says, I begged the school to confiscate my child's phone, and they told me they wouldn't because some teachers get them to use the phone while in class, maybe to look up stuff or whatever, I don't know. And I know my child was not listening in class due to distractions on the phone.
Eve has a good text in. She's a secondary school teacher, and she says, I would very much welcome the ban. I think teachers in classrooms have become more vulnerable too to being videoed, I suppose, of them taking photos of them in the class. Didn't think of that. That they could actually be posted on social media. Yeah. Kids also need to talk to each other again at lunchtime and not be stuck in their phones. It's ridiculous. Bring in the bans.
Yeah, just bring in like chats where you
I do find it amazing. Like this summer, like walking around. I was at a fair and it was just kids, like loads of them hanging around together, but just walking in packs,
all on
looking
their
at the phone.
Yeah,
like it's great, and I'm like, are you texting each other or what's going on? But it's so interesting to see how they move.
Just very quickly, Muireann, then, this might be an option. My kids have smart watches. They're timed to go out of contact during the school hours. So it just acts then as a normal watch. Okay. And then when school time is finished, it comes back on. They can use it. But I can still contact them.
Yeah, really, really interesting stuff. We'd love to hear from you on that one.
Yeah, 0896 111 111. Get your texts in it now. Coming up after the break, we are going to be talking with footballer Jamie Finn.
Yeah, she'll be talking playing for Ireland and her Euro hopes. See you in a few minutes.
Now, our next guest decided at 5 years old she was going to play football for Ireland, and her dreams came true when she was called up to the senior squad at just 21 years old.
Since then, she's become one of Ireland's standout sports stars. Please welcome Jamie Finn. Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
It's lovely, lovely to see you. You are a professional footballer. You play with Birmingham. You play with Ireland. But you always knew that you wanted to do it properly. You wanted to be a football star.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like anyone who knows me, I was in an Ireland kit since I can remember. Had a ball attached under my arm, out kicking the ball all the time, and yeah.
There you
look
are.
At you,
look.
that's so cute.
Oh wow.
That was just me in a nutshell when I was younger. Just constant kicking ball, watching football in that kit.
Yeah.
Probably slept in that.
And like, what became the road then? Because like, I feel particularly when we were younger, there was a route for the men to do it, but much less of a route for the women to do it.
Yeah, there was, and I think it was just the norm for me to sit down and watch men's football. There wasn't really, if any, women's football on TV. So yeah, I think like when I was younger, my sister played football and I went up and I think instantly just fell in love with it. And then, yeah, just kind of played, and I was probably shocking at the start, but yeah, just kind of played, practiced, and moved to Shells then. So played with Shells for years, and then that pathway into professional football.
So what's that like? You know, you're playing with Shells, you're doing your thing in Ireland, and obviously there are eyes from the Premier League, from the Women's League, looking over here, which is fantastic. So are you aware of that going, there could be someone coming from the Women's Super League over here?
Yeah, you are. It's always in the back of your mind, and I think if you have that dream to go and play, like you want to do it. And lucky for me, I knew a manager and he got the Birmingham job. So he just kind of got in contact and was like, listen, I know what you're about. I know how, like, you're a good footballer. I want you to come over. So yeah, it was just like that.
What age were you when you got that call?
I think I was about 21.
21 years old?
Yeah.
So around the same time that you got into the Ireland squad, like, tell us about that. How did you get in?
Yeah, so I was in the underage squads like throughout, and then I was maybe like a year and a half where I wasn't in the senior team. And obviously the senior team is like the pinnacle of you want to get in there. And everyone around me just kept saying, just keep going, it'll happen. And yeah, I got the call 2019, and yeah, just went in, got my first cap, yeah.
And you became a star in that team. You know, you're a person whose name that we know. You're one of those visible people that it is really important for young children to see out doing their thing. But there was a lot of controversy around you because you weren't picked for the Ireland squad to go to Australia. And you had been instrumental in that team. And I'm really sorry to bring it up because you did go over as a training player. How was that? Because as a country, we were all surprised.
Yeah, I was surprised too. It was a heartbreaking moment, to be honest, because like that picture when I was younger, it was always a dream for me to play for Ireland and to represent your country at a world stage. Like a World Cup is that was always my dream as well. But yeah, listen, I played in 7 of the 9 qualifying games to get the team to the World Cup. So yeah, it was heartbreaking, but I always knew I wanted to play for Ireland again. That was I said to my mum and dad, I said, listen, I'm going to go to Australia. I'm going to help the team as much as I can, because it is a team sport at the end of the day, which is, it's heart-wrenching, but like, that's what it is. And I went over, I helped them as much as I could, and said to myself, I'm going to get back in there, because for me, it's about playing for Ireland, and yeah, I'm very proud.
What an attitude!
Yeah,
Brilliant.
Because I was thinking, would it not nearly be worse being there, in that you're so close? You're like, I could be there, I should be there, rather than maybe having just watched it at home.
Yeah, like I thought about staying, but again, it always came back to no, I want to play again. And listen, it's one person's opinion. Football is a game of opinions, and I think as an athlete, you have to believe in yourself and your abilities. And I played in the 7 of the 9 games for a reason. And yeah, listen.
If I were you, I'd have a tattooed. 7 of 9, like I was there, because it's so instrumental. But you come back, you know, Ireland has a new setup now. You know, there's a lot of good vibes. We've been chatting here about Eileen Gleeson. A lot of people smiling about this woman and what she's bringing to the team. You're like, I'm getting back. And then a sports person's nightmare happened to you in February of this year on Ireland duty.
Yeah, so yeah, I got back in December. I played my first game. I came on as a sub before, but yeah, started. So I said, right, I'm going to put 2023 behind me. And yeah, went into the February camp, raring to go, and just in training, my knee went and I'd done my ACL. I actually couldn't believe it. I was lying on the floor saying, why me? Why me?
It was non-contact, was it a non-contact?
Yeah, non-contact in training. That's, unfortunately how a lot of them happen. But yeah, non-contact, and I knew straight away, which is not a great thing. And
how's the recovery going? Are you nearly back? Are you getting? It's a long road, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's been 5 months since my operation, and hopefully can start running soon. So yeah, people don't kind of realise it's very, very long, and you're basically kind of learning to walk after the operation again. And as a sports person, I'm sitting on the couch being like, get me up, you know. But
but it's just so obvious that you obviously are keeping fit, because personally in my life I think Michelle Obama has the best arms in the entire world, but now it's you. Genuinely, Jamie, I'm not joking. They're a thing of beauty. Put them in the National Gallery of Ireland. So you're obviously keeping incredibly fit.
My mum, she has super arms now. She might,
It's genetic.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
They're so good.
Yeah. Well, how is your mum? Because you brought her up, and you're here as an ambassador for the Very Pink Run, which is happening on the 31st of August, because of your mum.
Yeah, so unfortunately she was diagnosed last year with breast cancer in September. And yeah, I was obviously away from home, so that was difficult. I was in Birmingham at that stage. So she, from October to December, had 3 surgeries. And again, wasn't at home. So it was so difficult to kind of be over the phone and hear all that. And then in April, she went through radiation treatment for 4 weeks, so I obviously done my ACL in February, and lucky for me, the team let me do my rehab in Dublin. So I was at home when this happened, which was a blessing in disguise, I think. I always look for why do things happen. So I'm grateful for the time that I could get to be at home while she was going through that.
How is she?
Yeah, she's good now. She's all clear, which is great. Yeah.
That day must have been just wonderful.
Yeah, it was actually, remember the day with the Northern Lights in Ireland?
Oh, yeah.
It was that day she finished, and we all went out and we were like, this is crazy, and she loves all that, and yeah, it was amazing.
An absolute sign.
Yeah.
It's lovely there, because I know, I was myself earlier in the year. My brother lives in the UK, and I know he found it very tough just being away from the family. And it's not even necessarily that there's anything more you can do, but I'd say that was very, very difficult to just not be there, to be the shoulder to kind of cry on.
Yeah, absolutely. It was difficult. As a sports person, you never really, if you're away from home, you never really get time to get home. Christmas, if even. And I have 2 younger brothers and an older sister as well. So I think it was just important to be at home at that time. So
it's so lovely. And Martina, as you said, given the all clear, keep it on top of it.
Yeah.
Now I'm assuming because you're wearing your pink. You're not doing the very pink run, are you?
No,
You can't run
unfortunately
yet.
not. No, I wish I was, but I'll be there.
You will be there.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I'm just thinking your manager in Birmingham is going. Sorry,
she's doing what?
Talking about a run. we're not okay with that. But you are chatting about the very pink run because this is obviously to raise money for cancer services.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, when it happened to my mum, and I just kind of reached out to Breast Cancer Ireland and said, listen, is there anything I can do? Like, can I use my platform? Can I use my social media? Anything to help to raise awareness? And they just said, yeah, if you can jump on and be an ambassador. So that's kind of how that came about.
So this is the Very Pink Run. It takes place all around the country, loads of different places. The 31st of August to September the 8th. You can register at breastcancerireland.com/Very Pink Run because the work that they do, I don't think we can overstate the work that these organisations do in helping people out when they're going through one of the scariest things in life, really.
Yeah, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing, yeah.
So amazing. So not running.
Not running, unfortunately.
Let's talk about qualification.
Yeah.
For the Euros. We've got a match against Georgia.
Yeah.
Home and away.
Yeah.
Coming up in a couple of months.
Yeah.
Have you been chatting to people? Obviously you have been. How's everyone feeling?
Yeah, they're feeling good. Yeah, I think, we've beaten Georgia before. Obviously not getting ahead of ourselves, but listen, if it's doable, if we get our heads right and go in and train well, and hopefully fingers crossed.
You hope to be back in and involved?
For this
Bit
one,
too soon? Bit too soon?
A bit too soon. I might go in and have a few chats, have a few coffees. But no, hopefully soon I'll be back on the pitch.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed, and hopefully we'll see you back on that Ireland journey very soon. Jamie Finn, thanks a million for joining us this morning.
Thanks so much, Jamie.
Thank you.
And people can sign up for the Very Pink Run online as well. It's happening in 3 physical locations, but you can do it online as well if you can't make those, and that will help.
Absolutely. And Martina, if you're around to show us your arms, we'd love to just do a comparison here. Lots more to come on Ireland AM.
See you after the break.
Now, time to get the dinner plans ready. We've just told Alberto Rossi that Sean is vegan, and he nearly collapsed.
Yes. Destroyed.
Destroyed the whole. Let's cancel the whole section.
I'm here to cater only to half the guests.
I'll leave here now and just.
So because you're making
I'm making a lamb pasta. You know, it's. I'm embarrassed now.
Don't worry.
Well, hold on.
Don't worry. I'll eat it, and there's lots of people here who'll eat it as well.
And what I'll do is I'll steal the recipe without the lamb. So there we go.
That's it. Yeah, you can do it without the lamb. You can put eggplants and zucchini and everything. It won't be the same though, Sean.
It'll do for me. It'll do for me.
So we have a lamb. It's like making a lamb stew, and then you cook the Sardinian pasta on the side, like I'm doing now. I'm gonna put it down in the water.
I've never seen that before.
No, neither have I.
No, it is very, very particular of Sardinia. In all fairness, if you were to go to Italy and you can travel from the north to the center to the south, you will see so many different pasta shapes that they don't even come here to Ireland.
Okay. Yeah. So if we wanted to get this, where could we get it?
You can probably get it in the Italian shops, like, that they sell just Italian food, with like Little Italy and stuff like that, or kind of some fresh, I think.
So we've all our viewers going, I'm not going to the Italian shop now to get pasta.
It's similar to couscous. It's similar to couscous as that.
All right, okay.
It just takes
so
longer.
look, you can have just some of the pasta then.
There you go, yeah.
Exactly, but it won't be cooked in 6 minutes. So what we do is I diced the lamb, and you can see it's, I would say, 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters now. It's not that I'm there with the ruler to check the dice, okay?
No.
But it's not a big piece.
Fussy,
You're not making like a big Sunday stew. You're making it's a smaller stew, and you have a pot here going on over medium heat, and you put oil.
I love that pan. Did you take that from the kitchen at the intercom?
No, I bought that myself just for this. So I come here and it looks good.
Yeah.
But sometimes I come with pots there from work, and nobody has a pot big like that in work. You get me? It makes no sense. I bring something that people can relate to. So you start with the lamb and you put it down in the pot, okay? And you start to sear it, okay? We call this searing. You're cooking it basically, okay?
Yeah.
And then on the side here, I have diced onion, carrot, and celery, and you also have some thyme. Now,
they're diced very small.
Yeah, very
that's
small.
That's a lot of chopping. That's a lot of chopping.
It took me 3 minutes.
Oh, I see you, executive chef.
15 minutes.
This is, and many years of training. So it's all right.
You'd have a half of my finger in there now.
No, but it doesn't have to be like that. Once it's not bigger than the meat itself.
Okay.
Okay. You always try to keep everything the same size, so it's not crazy. Okay.
Okay.
Because even the pasta has a certain size, and you go and you You know, you make your meat graze, salt and pepper all the times. Otherwise, you eat with no flavor, okay? And then you add your vegetables, so your carrot, your onion, your carrot and your celery, and you cook it off, okay, for, I would say, 5-6 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, over medium-high heat. Then
So
with the
you
glaze...
leave the celery on the little shoot thing?
Yeah, like that. And then you deglaze with white
nice
wine.
drop of wine.
Exactly. Always open a bottle of wine that you're going to drink with it, you know?
Right.
Now, a lot of people would say, oh, why don't you put red wine with red meat? But the lamb has a very subtle flavor, and sometimes if you add red wine, it overpowers it, you know? So you just go like this, and you let it cook for a couple of minutes, and then we add some of the tomatoes in the can. You know, these one are the one already chopped. I always buy the chopped tomatoes in the tin instead of the one whole, the whole ones, because otherwise you have to break them, you know? And it's messy. You know, we were shown that you put them in a pot and then with your hand you crush them, but you always squeeze tomato sauce on yourself. Okay, you know? So like that, and then you just put some stock to keep it cooking, and you cook it for about an hour and a half. It's very simple. And
an hour and a half?
An hour and a half on low heat. Because the lamb always is very sinewy, you know, and you know, in this case, you can use shoulder, you can use leg, but here I use the rump, so it needs to flow, you know, there's fat in between and everything.
Is it something you could sear and then put in a slow cooker?
Yeah, the slow cooker would be perfect, you know. You put it in there, you know, the slow cooker will probably take 3 hours, 2 hours and a half because it's electric. And but that'll be even better because you can put it on, go shopping, go pick up the kids from school and stuff. Exactly. Then on a different pot, you just have boiling water with salt, and you drop in your fregola. Now, the fregola will tell you that it takes about 13 to 14 minutes to cook on the package. In this case, you only cook it 10 minutes. You leave it a little bit behind, and then when your meat is ready, because you're gonna have to taste it to check that it's ready, that it's tender the way you like it. Yeah.
Put the pasta into the pan for another few minutes.
Exactly, and then it cooks all together, so all the flavors marry and mix. Okay, and then it's served like this. Now, Sean, I'm sorry that I won't be able to serve you.
I'm enjoying the smells.
Okay.
Keep the pasta going in the other one.
Yeah.
And then you finish with a little bit of Sardinian pecorino that is different from the Roman pecorino that's a bit more salty. But it is like
what
this.
is the difference in pecorino? Is what?
One is the Roman, the pecorino romano, the one that you put on the normal pasta. It's a bit harder or saltier and different milk, while the pecorino from Sardinia has different flavors, different level of hardness and everything.
This is lovely and hearty, a good autumn dish, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I know that we are in summer, but it doesn't look like
it. Doesn't feel like it, does it?
I'm bringing out all the autumn food in August.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
But like you said, it's so simple. It's a one pot.
It's simple. And if you don't eat it all today, you put it in the fridge, absorb even more flavor. The day after, you just have to put a little bit more water or stock to make it, again, a little bit more loose, because otherwise the pasta will absorb all the flavor.
I do that. If I make a bolognese, I always make it the night before. And just leave it. And then the next day, it's just gorgeous.
It tastes better. All the flavors marry much better, you know, and easy peasy. And if you don't like the lamb, you can use beef or you can use chicken, but, you know, lamb is the flavor that comes out.
Very, very simple. Alberto Rossi from the Intercontinental Hotel, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
For joining us, as always.
Now,
and it is delicious.
It looks delicious, smells delicious. Sometimes I regret going vegan, but then other times I don't. Coming up, Deric is going arm to arm with a world champion.
Yeah, he'll be live from the Tipperary Dualla Show after the break.
Back. Well, Deric is in tip-top form, visiting the Premier County this morning.
He's been exploring the Dualla Agricultural Show. I'm just going to say finger wrestling, but he's also spotted a familiar face.
Has he? Yeah, he's going to be doing something with his fingers. Deric, it's over to you.
Yes, guys, absolutely. The sun is shining. Welcome down here to Dualla. We're down here in County Tipperary in the Premier County, head of their agriculture show that is kicking off this Sunday. Jack, and what an event you have lined up. I believe 20,000 people coming down here at the weekend for it.
Yeah, we have been going here for since 13 years. We started off with a tractor pulling, just raise funds to buy a purchase a field, a local community field. And we currently are doing it up at the moment. Over the years, we've been putting money into it, and also with the local structures, churchyard and the community centre. So I suppose it's a very important event here for the community in Dualla, you know.
You're kind of like the Bull McCabe down here, are you? Tis my land. I mean, but it's grown over the years, and it's fantastic, really. I suppose we were talking about it earlier. For rural Ireland, it's great to see it, isn't it?
Well, we're in the heart of the Golden Vale here, and we have a lot of sites with Cashel, and we're just the Deric is just found over there, 5-10 minutes drive. We're under the eaves of Ballyown House here, so it's a beautiful site. And like we have a huge the community here, like you can see the amount of people, and during the week the amount of people that are involved in putting this together, you know. But it has grown over the years because I suppose a necessity, a need, but also it's because it's the community want to be involved in something and to achieve something, and it has grown so much now that you know that we have so many different events that we add on every year. We have the country music, we have the tractor pulling, we have the livestock, and we have the monster trucks, and we have the circus. And the beauty about it is that it's secure, and the families can come in, they pay in, and the children under 16 are free. They can go to the circus all day, they can go to the monster trucks, they can go to the food tent.
Let them off around the field, let them run around and enjoy themselves.
We've fenced all around, we've heaps of security people around, and all the community are all workers here, and health and safety, you know, they all trained up in that, and they all know what it takes to keep making a happy environment for the people.
Absolutely, you know? And it's great to see rural Ireland alive and kicking now. One man who's just down the road. In fact, Dennis, you're a farmer here in the locality.
Yeah, Rare, just down the road, on a beef farm up the hills there. Yeah, so local, and you know, we try to raise a few hundred beef every year, and it's been a great, I suppose, existence and a great way to grow.
Yeah, what does it mean for you then to be involved down here in the local agriculture show in Dualla?
Oh, it's really special. It's where I'm from. I'm born and bred, and the community here is fantastic. They've put on a fabulous show over the last, 13 years. It's just been incredible to see the community come together. You know, the amount of work that goes in, it's all volunteers, and just, you have to congratulate everyone on what they do.
Let's get on to your rugby career, because you really have had a stellar one. I mean, you were part of that first ever Grand Slam team.
Yeah, I was very lucky, to be involved in 09, a great bunch of fellas, and after, I suppose, 63 years or whatever it was of waiting, we managed to get over the line, and, fantastic memories of obviously working with your colleague Tommy and people like that.
What was actually Tommy like on the pitch? Was he good? Was he sound?
Yeah, he was an amazing rugby player, and he was one of the guys where in a sport that's, everyone is a little bit moody. Tommy was a real light coming into a dressing room. He was just a great guy to be a teammate of, and he had everyone's back.
I mean, obviously now you're working behind the scenes in the back room with the Munster rugby team at the moment. How are you set for the upcoming season?
Yeah, we're in pre-season at the moment, so the boys are working really hard. Obviously there's turnovers of players. We're losing guys like Simon Zebu, who has been a legend of the club, but there's new younger players coming through, so it's very exciting, hoping to get those guys through, and hopefully they'll have the same type of careers.
And obviously you've Bath coming up here at the weekend. How are you fixed for that?
Yeah, we're over in Bath next weekend, so yeah, it just starts off the season. It's very exciting just to get back into it, and just cast our eyes over players and see how they're trucking.
How do you fancy a finger wrestle later on?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Right, well you get your jacket on there, and I'll talk to Trudy, because Trudy, in fact, you're performing here at the weekend, aren't you?
I can't wait, Deric. It's just one of the biggest shows, the Dualla Show, in the whole country. People come from all over the country to dance and to listen to the country music as well as everything else. So the country music stage is relatively new to the Dualla Show. It's there for the last 5 years, and we've a huge lineup this coming Sunday. The biggest dance floor in Europe is here in the Dualla Show. Yeah, Jerry Guthrie, Sean Cuddy, Paddy O'Brien, Olivia Douglas, Dee Morrissey, Colin Kenny and myself. I'm looking forward to hosting it and singing, and the atmosphere here in Dualla is incredible. I live here for the last 23 years. They're the most nicest people, friendliest people, and I hope you're going to come back down and do a bit of a jive with me on Sunday.
Absolutely, and hopefully we'll bring the bit of good weather as well, which is key. Anyway, before we let you go, wrestling, of course, is a big part of what they do down here in Dualla, and we've got Killian and Cormac. Killian, you're in fact national champion, right?
Killian is the national champion. Yeah.
You are a national champion, and what does it take to become national champion?
I don't know, just hard work and just keep wrestling.
Do we want to see the lads in action here this morning? Yeah. Right, lads, we'll go on the count of a 3, a 2, August ahead. Cheer them on now. Come on, lads. That's it. That's the job. Go on, wrestle him down. Pull him down. Oh! Hey! Oh, there we have a right. Well, lads, you know what? We're going to show you how it's really done. Dennis Leamy, pop in here. Where's my little white jacket? We have a... Oh, it's behind me here. Where is it? Oh, it's behind me. It's like Alan Hughes in the panto. It's behind me. Right. Okay, now. Right. Okay, Dennis Leamy, pop in here. You're in here, Veronica. Pop over there now. All right, we're on this side. Right, here we go. Right, okay. So, Cormac Killian, explain the rules here.
I will indeed. So we'll make a few modifications to the grip up for entertainment purposes, but otherwise I'm going to get you both to stand in straight against the table.
Right, here we go. Yeah.
Put your elbow right in the middle of that pad.
Right in the middle of the pad. We're going fingers.
Yeah, fingers. Yeah. Square these shoulders. Okay.
Okay, this is like Limerick and Tipperary on Ireland.
You might turn your hand a little bit just to give yourself. Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. Well, good look at the grip in there. Yeah. Go for it. Yeah. Every advantage you can get.
And throw a bit more on there. Now, here we go. Right.
Are
you ready?
So I'll hold the grip. So 3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Come on.
All right.
Oh.
And remember, pulling towards yourself. Hold on to that pin pad. I'll call you out. Go on. Anyone's to win. Incredible stuff.
Right, we've got the rosettes here. Yeah. What have we got? Okay, first here for me. And what have we got for Dennis?
Dennis gets
okay, look, Dennis has got, look.
Just for turning up against such a
his
strong
special
man,
rosette just for turning up. Good man, Dennis. All right, a fantastic weekend. Hopefully the sun shines down here in Tipperary. But for me and all the gang here at the Dualla Agricultural Show, great fun here this morning. Back to the studio. Come on, Dennis.
There you go.
I thoroughly enjoyed that.
I'd be afraid to
We're not too good to go after the break ourselves.
I'm even joking.
I'd be afraid I'd break my finger.
Would you be afraid?
Be careful there now. Be careful there.
Coming out with your arthritic claw at the end of it.
I just love Dennis's sort of the dimple going, "Aye, come on, we let him win." Like
he won in his own right.
Won in his own right. Thank you so much, Deric, as always, bringing us beauty from around the country. He's at Dualla today. Still to come this morning, the brilliant Brendan Gleeson talks, playing Donald Trump and acting alongside his son.
And we've got the essentials for a seasonal capsule wardrobe on the catwalk.
And we're using sweet-smelling flowers to make sleepy tea. See you after the break.
Right. Welcome back to Ireland AM. Now we've got some very exciting news today. Virgin Media Television has announced its brand new streaming service. It is called Virgin Media Play.
It is. This comes alongside a schedule of fresh content for viewers to enjoy.
Yes, from tense psychological thrillers to feel-good reality TV. Let's take a look at some of the highly anticipated content dropping soon on Virgin Media Television.
I want to show you something.
I feel like I'm living in a dream.
This is a safe place for a lot of people.
We are here for you.
You have been very honest and very open.
To bring people together in a more positive light.
More rich in hope.
You have a voice.
It's part of the story.
You had been gathering momentum for a while.
They thrive on polarisation.
We've got like 175 here today, and you have 175 personalities.
Say hello to baby.
Congratulations, she's gorgeous. The nosiest woman in Ireland just happens to be in your bathroom.
The energy, it's amazing.
Very, very excited.
Are you not entertained? Get ready for the greatest reality show on earth.
Who could you see having a shift?
On a cheeky pose. It could get a bit tense.
I can't wait to see this.
Are you scared of him?
He just can't resist getting involved.
He killed my brother. How does it end? An eye for an eye?
Bang! And into the back of the net. Brilliant finish!
That's what's coming up this
exciting
season.
And loads of things. And I suppose one of the big ones is a big new drama called Dead and Buried, which looks amazing.
It does. It's written by Colin Bateman. If you've read any of his books, it's real dark humour, crime thriller. And the story is that it's a woman, her brother was murdered years previously, and she's walking down the road and she sees the fella who killed him. He's been let out of prison.
They just bump into
Yeah.
each other. And it's a brilliant scene because lashing rain, and he turns and she's there and the two of them just meet, like, catch eyes. And it's like, it's the trailer for it's really, really good.
And Colin Morgan, who played Merlin in the BBC series, and he was last in a Jane Casey adaptation as well. He's in that and he looks fantastic. I'm very much looking forward to that one.
Yeah, and lots of other things, documentaries, Women Locked Up, Ireland's Most Dangerous Hospital, Borders and Lies, Generation Rent, and Real Life with Lucy. So Lucy's back, a 4-part series where she goes, like, as Lucy said herself, being nosy but getting underneath. Like, she goes with the trans community in Ireland as well.
Oh,
First time getting to know trans people living in Ireland, and she said that was really interesting. Gogglebox is back for a 10th year.
Is it 10 years already?
10 years of Gogglebox, yeah. I love it.
It's a classic, isn't it? Whoever had the original idea, and to bring it over here as well, to watch people watching TV, it has no right to be as entertaining as it is. But absolutely.
You were saying that, like, sort of saying when this station started, like when Ireland AM started 25 years ago, or the station 26 years ago, if you mooted that idea of Ireland then, people sitting, what would it have been like compared to? Are we more outspoken now, or are we less outspoken now? You'd think, I wonder.
No, see, I think we've always done it. It's just that because you're going to know someone who knows someone. I was watching an episode the other night, and the two boys in Ranelagh in Dublin, they were kind of going, the state of this, and it was something that was Irish.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's going to get back to them now, because you're going to know 6 degrees of Michael Healy-Rae.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
You said the state of that.
You said.
And she went to school with my cousin. My cousin's dog was bought by your one, who was the mother
So
of...
I think anyone on Gogglebox who actually says, you know what, I love the fact that they do. I'm like, it's going to get back to them, because we often sit here and we watch bits like that Deric's doing, and it's like Gogglebox for us, because we're just sitting here, the three of us, chatting about what's going on.
And slagging it off.
No, we're not. We're saying how fantastic it all is.
You couldn't broadcast some of the stuff that you'd be saying anyway.
But he's celebrating his... Ireland AM is celebrating his 25th anniversary, and you have been here for every single one of them.
Yeah, Ireland AM turns 25 next month, so to mark the occasion, we're looking to celebrate with the viewers who've been with us for over 2 decades.
You're amazing. So if you've ever watched a story that had an effect on your life, or if you've ever shared a story with Ireland AM that did, that really impacted what happened in your life, changed your life, we would absolutely love to hear from you.
Yeah, you can get in touch on WhatsApp 0896 111 111, or send an email with your story to irelandam@virginmedia.ie.
And some people have been doing that already. And here is someone who's been in touch. It says, we received this message from a grandmother of 2 gorgeous grandsons who were born with developmental issues. Her daughter carries a gene, which means she has a 1 in 3 chance of giving birth to a child with those developmental issues. And after watching a doctor on Ireland AM, she realised he might be able to help. And he did. Her daughter received help from the doctor and gave birth to her 3 babies who don't have the same challenges as her other sons. And this viewer goes on to say, you opened a door for us we never knew existed. And the rest is history. Because that's why we're here every morning, to see if there's something that we can do that might spark something in someone's head and be like, oh my God, I can do that.
And I'm sure there's lots of people who have stories like that or similar to that, or even like joyous stories that we'd love to hear from you. You can send those stories in on a WhatsApp to 0896 111 111, or send us an email to irelandam@virginmedia.ie.
Again, if Alan Hughes has, passed you by, done a river dance massage on you, anything like that, we need to hear from you. And after the break, I'm catching up with the national treasure, Brendan Gleeson.
He'll be telling us how he works movie magic with the iconic Martin McDonagh. Stay with us.
Welcome back now. From iconic Irish films like The Guard and Banshees of Inisherin to international blockbusters like the Harry Potter franchise, Brendan Gleeson's talents, you know what? They know no bounds. He was hanging around Bewley's in Dublin yesterday and I caught up with them.
Is Ray there with you?
He's in the toilet.
Can you hear?
No.
What's she doing?
What do you mean?
Is she doing a wee or a poo?
I don't know, Harley. The door's closed.
We'll send him out on an errand for half an hour, but don't make it sound suspicious.
You ever been to the States?
Yeah, once. Disney World.
Well, you when you was a kid with your family or something?
No, this was last year.
You went with a girlfriend?
No, God, no.
You went to Disney World by yourself.
Yeah, great gas it was. Got me picture taken with Goofy and everything. He's my favourite, Goofy. What are you doing?
Oh, so you're going to be in Egypt again today, is it?
I'm allowed to have a quiet pint on my own, Porrick.
Well, don't ask a man to call up to you at your feckin' house, so like he has nothing better to do with his feckin' time.
I didn't ask you to call up to me at my house. And you do have nothing better to do with your feckin' time.
Huh?
Good morning, Brendan Gleeson. How are you?
Good morning, Muireann. How are you?
It's lovely to have you here. It's for a very important reason. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes, but we should talk about the day job first, I think. You have run the gamut of every Irish film from, you know, Far and Away. Do you know, you made an appearance in Far and Away.
I did. I was there for one night.
One night?
Yeah,
well,
one night only.
Like it or not, it has gone down in the pantheon of Irish films. I mean, we've all seen it somehow. We all talk about the accents. But from something like that, then you've gone on to work with the McDonaghs in utterly beloved films.
But they're amazing writers, you know, they're just incredible, and they're really cinematic, proper writers and directors, you know, that they're genuinely gifted, but they're also big movie fans. Yeah. They love cinema as such. They love it, and they're just really talented. Again, you just get lucky. John Boorman was a big influence on my career. He was possibly the biggest in terms of understanding what film acting had to be, and so The General for me is one of the ones I look back on. Where I learned the most, probably.
Okay, so playing someone like Martin Cahill or even Michael Collins in The Treaty, you're also in the Neil Jordan film, you've played Winston Churchill, you've played Donald Trump. Like, these are incredibly, incredibly serious roles. They're a part of our social consciousness. So do you have to come from the point of view of that character? Nobody knows the inside of a person. So the first thing you have to realise is that this is a version of this person. Yeah. You're not playing that person. You're playing a version of him. It's of necessity you have to. And when you're in there, then you tend to want to fight his corner. You know, that's just the way it is. If you're, like, nobody thinks of themselves as the bad guy, really. So if you're in there, you're trying to acquire the perspective that this guy has. So therefore, you're fighting from his corner, up to a point. And having an outside view sometimes is not very helpful. You know, you can think what you like, but basically, if you're going to be playing the person, a person who's playing, who's living his own life, has his own perspective on how and why he does certain things. And the good thing about playing a real person is that you don't have to make it up. So you're not saying, you wouldn't say that, or if somebody gives you a line, you're not saying, that doesn't feel right. And I said, this is written, he wrote it, he'd said it. Yeah. And so you take, okay, somehow or another I have to get myself into a position where that can come out of my mouth. Now, anything can come out of my mouth, so you have to remember that too. But like, Brendan, you've never been typecast. You've been everything from Donald Trump to Mad-Eye Moody. I mean, you get to do everything. Well, that's not the way it works, really. Like, you do, like, I remember when I started, if I played a bruiser, a bouncer-y type guy, you get a load of scripts giving you, you know, talking to you to come up for bouncer role number 2, and then if you do something funny, you get, you know, loads of stuff about coming where they say, you can be the funny guy, and if you do something that's serious, then that's all you're going to get. So there's a while where you're at the behest of what comes to you, and when I did something a bit goofy, I didn't want to be I wanted something serious to get my teeth into. So you have to do a certain amount of trawling through. Just like, you know what? I've done 2 of those in the last year. I'm not doing them again. I'm not, you know, playing another whatever. But even at that, it's hard. I especially now, like, I'm glad not to have to. I don't have to bother doing that anymore. I'll only do what really interests me. I don't have to go and just play something that I've done already. Yeah. When you're younger and you know, you need to keep working, that's different maybe. But you have to it's a fine line. But yeah, I've been really lucky with regard to the stuff that has been offered to me and the people I've worked with. And in the end, a lot of it is down to that. You know, you work with the McDonaghs, you get to do good work.
Simple as that.
Well, the McDonough brothers, they do like to get the band back together. I mean, at one stage, we would like to see the Banshees of Inisherin crew reunite.
Well, I'd love to see the Banshees crew back again, but it has to be good, is the thing.
Yeah.
Like, Martin is not just going to toss out any old stuff to bring us all together so we'd have reenact the experience. It's not like that, because everybody would be terrified, everybody would make an absolute mess of it. And whatever, like, he is the creative source.
Yeah.
So it has to be if and when, you know, if and when something makes sense and that it's something that's really exciting. Yeah. I mean, he swore it wouldn't take another 10 years, but I'm running out of time.
I don't think you're running out of time. I like that. Yeah. Speaking of creative source, you of course have wonderful sons who are all in the creative world. What's it like when you're on set together?
I haven't been on set with them for a good while now. The Walworth was the maddest, I guess.
The Walworth farce that you did.
The Walworth farce, yeah. Then we did Psychic, which was Rory's short that I did with the two lads and I was directing. That was interesting.
Did it bring you back to when they were small?
No, the very opposite.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I couldn't order them about, really. And just get them, you know, it was like they had all developed into people with their own. And as a director, I hadn't reached the stage where I could really kind of think on my feet and say, okay, we'll come here to here to here. So I'd sort of set things in my head about what way something had to work. Which didn't necessarily go down the best.
And would they let you know?
Yeah.
But we are here to talk about something that's incredibly important to your family and indeed families around the country, because your parents, both Pat and Francis, they died with cancer. They were in hospice care, and we're here to talk about Bewley's Coffee Morning and to raise money for hospice care.
Yeah, so I kind of I'm a big fan of live theatre and people going to see films in cinemas and communal kind of get-togethers.
Yeah.
If you can do it. And we were all moaning during COVID that we couldn't get to see friends and acquaintances and have social gatherings. So the coffee morning is a unique opportunity to get a load of free coffee, won't even cost you, and get a bunch of people off a WhatsApp group that you only see through digital means and get them into a room and get them in either in your house or anywhere down the local whatever, and have a coffee morning and just actually have human contact with everybody. And it's going towards something that has kind of transformed the way I just have been so reaffirmed by the way the people in the hospice movement organise themselves and work through compassion and sensitivity and professionalism and kindness, all part of something that where all of those things are prioritised above bottom lines and box ticking. It's always about the human contact and stuff like that. So yeah, it's about, I think the coffee morning is great. It's going 30 years or something. Like, and Bewley's are amazing, sort of backing it up, but it is a thing about human contact. So I'm trying to encourage people to get a bit of human contact going and raise a few bob.
And the dignity that hospice and hospice nurses provide to people at that end of life.
It's amazing.
It's
but they give it to the people who are left behind as well. So yeah, I'd love to encourage people to go out and just have a bit of crack over a cup of free coffee.
You are in The Joker Part 2. It is a musical. Are you doing an old number in it?
There's music in it. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't give away anything really.
You haven't seen it?
No. My manager and agent saw it over in LA.
What do they think?
They thought,
Yeah?
Yeah.
How do you find watching yourself?
I don't mind, because I had to, when I went, I was 34, 35 before I started getting offers of going on camera, and I realised how much I had to learn. So I had to watch myself on Glenroe for about 4 weeks, and then I said, I need to stay here for another while to learn a bit more, because this is... So I did 10 weeks altogether, and then I said, kill me off. And they sent me to Kenya to start up an inkball project, I think, or something.
Thank you so much, Brendan, for joining us this morning.
Thanks.
Welcome back now. If you're looking for one or two essential items for your wardrobe, look no further.
Yes, because here to help is stylist Lorna Waitman. Good morning to Lorna.
Hello.
Okay, let's get straight into it because you'll discuss it all as we see it. And we're starting with Christina.
Christina is wearing, actually, the same dress as I'm wearing today, just in the stripe. So, yeah.
So dressed up and casual.
Dressed up and casual. So we tried to make it work two ways today.
Why is that casual? Just because of the shoes? Because it's a beautiful dress.
It's beautiful, but the stripe...
the runners.
Yeah, the runners, it just shows you what you kind of put with it really can alter how you style something. And the stripe as well tends to have this, like, it reminds you a little bit of late summer. You know, it's a bit more casual, but also I think a dress like this is a really great foundation piece. So if you want to put a denim jacket over it, it works so beautifully with the stripe. Or as we get to winter, you can put a leather jacket over it. So it actually is such a versatile dress for something that is sleeveless. But what I do love about it is you'll notice on the close-up, it has a box pleat. And what that means is you've got a wider pleat coming down over the tummy, which if you are conscious of your tummy area, this is just such a powerful seam that you can go for, but also it makes the dress flow really beautifully.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lovely flow.
Isn't there?
It must be so comfortable to wear, isn't it?
It's so comfortable, and it's quite light, so it's great for layering. Right. It's really great. And then to kind of make it more casual, we've got it with these just lovely plain white runners as well. And all our looks today are coming from the Casual Company, so really good Irish brand there too.
Lovely. And then just the little earrings, because again, it's so interesting. You look so dressed up, and because we're always talking about earrings and what they do. Your earrings are dressed up, these are very casual.
Yeah, exactly. So they just can alter everything. And I think when you do have a lovely wide strap like this on this dress as well, your earrings stand out a little bit more. You tend to see them a bit more because you see a bit more neckline. And this particular dress just has a lovely flattering neckline as well.
It does.
Especially if you have a bigger bust line as well.
Love how you're contrasting
Thanks
that next
very
day.
much.
Ursula.
So Ursula's in, I'm calling this the everyday dress, because when you want to just pop on something and be ready to go, this is the dress that will do it. But what's great about it is it ticks all the boxes for me. It's got a lovely flattering length, it's got a lovely neckline on it, a sleeve, pockets, elasticated waist, the list kind of keeps going on and on. But when you get to autumn as well, print becomes something that we don't tend to focus on, but actually print is lovely coming into autumn, winter. And with a one like this, where the canvas is kind of red and it's punctuated with little tiny, like small print, it's much easier to wear.
It is tone rather than big yellows or
exactly.
Something like that,
So it makes it great under coats and jackets as we get towards winter as well. But also it has that fit and flare look, which we've seen a lot in the Casual Company dresses. And I think that's something that's such a kind of win-win when you have a dress and a wardrobe. You want it to fit really nicely, but you'll see it's double elasticated on the waist as well. So it's super comfy under your bust line and your waist.
And then the little shoes.
So we've dressed this up a little bit with shoes as well. Don't put the sandals away just yet. We might be able to get a little bit more wear as well.
In September we always get a bit of good weather.
We do. And also,
hopefully.
Yeah, and if you're actually a little bit petite, Ursula's quite tall as well. And when you've got a longer length like this, when you see a little bit more foot, you've got a little open toe, you actually create a little bit more elongation on your legs. A bit more foot. Yeah, a bit more foot. This is keeping the simple accessories. This is kind of my method here, because you don't want to take away from that print. You want it to be the statement and make that do all the work for you. So keep your earrings nice and simple when you go for a dress like this.
Ursula, thank you for the more foot today.
The more foot.
Appreciate it.
Ursula's got lovely feet.
Lovely. Oh, no.
The dungarees are something I have been researching a lot lately because they're such a casual staple, but also with these ones is they have an adjustable strap on them. So, which I think is just so clever.
I see these Casual Company dungarees out in the wild all the time.
I see them everywhere, and I think also because I research them quite a lot, you see them a lot more than this, but these ones are great because they also have the elasticated waistline. They're not too long, they're just ankle grazing, so your shoe options are kind of endless. But because you can layer something under it nice and comfortably, we've got that lovely stripe underneath it too.
You've gone with
your options are endless.
Here,
so you could put something brighter underneath it if you wanted to as well. But the fact that it has a little knot tie at the top, and you can alter that knot to have the dungaree sit wherever you feel comfortable. And I think that is so clever.
That is very, very clever. Different torso lengths, people who want gusset lengths, different ones.
It's exactly it, especially when it comes to kind of gusset length. And you've got like your kind of tummy to torso ratio and all that kind of thing is catered for with these. But then just keeping it really simple again with these runners, it just shows you this can be such a casual pop-on look in your wardrobe, but you still feel comfortable and you still look very, very chic as well.
It's very nice.
And silver. Clever.
a hoop earring again.
We've got a little hoop earring as well. Silver and that monochrome look is a really good pairing when it comes to accessories too. And even if you're dressing casually, I think the earrings just make an outfit look really complete, which it just finishes, and sometimes we forget about them, but they look really great on Lisa this morning.
Lovely, thank you, Lisa.
Final look.
Oh, very fancy.
This is such a gorgeous dress for a black dress because it is so much going on for a piece that is so kind of a classic.
Yeah.
Really, it is super classic. So you've got a little contrast on the fabric too. So the top is just a slightly different fabric to the bottom. But also you'll notice as we zoom in a little bit quickly, you've got that lovely sweetheart neckline, which is really flattering on the bust. You've got a wider strap, which means you can wear a bra with it, which is great. But also it has a seam cut under the bust, which actually gives you just this really subtle shape and lift as well, which I think is very, very clever. And it makes the dress sit really neat against your body.
Okay, so it's like your material at the top and a different material at the bottom.
And it has like a subtle corset feel to it, but it's lovely and flexible.
And pockets. So many dresses now have pockets.
I think this is something casual companies do really well, is that pockets are in most of the dresses, and there's something very kind of nice about putting your hands in your pocket.
You go for a pocket, and if it's not there, you're like,
where is it? Exactly, yeah, exactly. And then we've made this quite dressy with a little sandal as well, but you can definitely make this more casual by styling with the runners as well.
Yeah. Lovely, and just a little earring as well.
And a little earring as well. So the earrings are playing a very big role this morning. And again, because you're showing like a little bit more skin, a little bit more on your shoulders, you can keep that lovely subtle feel as well. And I just think a dress like this is such a great staple for autumn, winter as well, because it will never fail you. It's so timeless and classic.
Absolutely lovely. And you look fabulous.
Thanks very
in
much.
that. You look
all
so
from the
good.
Casual Company this morning.
Lorna Waitman knocks it out of the park, didn't she? Now, coming up next, our resident forager has brought us in some lavender.
Yes, we're learning about the health benefits of the plant after this quick break. Thanks for staying with us. Now, Sean, do you feel this? It's the time of year you can't walk by anyone's garden without seeing some lavender.
Yeah, my own included.
Oh,
There's
really?
a load of it there that's starting to look a little bit mouldy out the front. It's probably gone past its best, so here to show us what we can do with that leftover lavender leaves is forager Phoebe Ford. And you've got, I tell you, the smells out here are
gorgeous.
just amazing.
We're all going to be asleep in the next couple of minutes.
It is lovely. Before we talk about this, I'm always saying to you, and you're saying about going out foraging, and I was going, do you have to be careful? And you're going, yeah, you do. You have to know what you're doing, because there's a big thing online now about the actress Alicia Silverstone, and she's getting a lot of backlash. Tell us why.
I can tell you why. Because she was wandering down the street in England on her holidays, reached into somebody's front garden and took what she thought was a tomato off one of their plants, and didn't just look at it, she ate it.
As you do. You know?
So one of the first things, I bring people on foraging tours all the time, and one of the first things that I teach people is, if you do not know how to identify it 100%,
what it is, don't use it.
Don't touch it, but definitely don't eat it.
See, look, she reached through the railings.
Through the railings.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, so there are dangerous things out there that you could be eating.
Absolutely 100% dangerous things, and this is why being ethically foraging and knowing exactly what you're foraging is very, very important. I would always say people have like the likes of a book like the Wildflowers of Ireland. Get yourself maybe an identification app on your phone to help steer you. But using,
if you're interested, doing it.
But by using a field guide like this means that you can definitely 100% identify. And until you're 100% identified, don't go sticking it in your gob.
Don't be just going up and like eating stuff.
Don't eat it.
Sticking it in your gob.
Don't eat it.
No.
Now, what are we
back to lavender.
Yeah, what can I do with some of that lavender that's
Sean, you were
out the front
saying
and
that your
dying?
lavender is starting to look a bit bedraggled at the moment, and this is the time between like August, September, people do start cutting their lavender back because then it helps it come back on again in spring.
How much do you cut it back? Do I take all of it off?
Take the flowers, generally from a half to a third of the plant back will actually help it to come back better next year.
Okay.
So, but the thing is, with the lavender that's still there, even though it doesn't look as beautiful as it would have over the past couple of months, there is still merit and still goodness and medicine in it. Actually, if you were to go back, when Tutankhamun's tomb was opened, they found lavender there from 2,500 years ago, and it still smelled beautiful. So there is the ones that are going in your garden.
Mummy smell.
Well, there you go. You can still use it.
What are the benefits of lavender?
Lavender is a beautiful sedative. This is the one that's going to help you to wind down, particularly if you had a busy day or a stressful day. day, or you're someone who has a flitty brain at night time, and you might find
flitty.
you know you're saying that flitty. Everything is flitty. That your brain, you find it hard to turn off that Rolodex of thoughts. So it's not necessarily going to make you fall asleep, but what it does is it helps you to calm. And generally, if it calms your mind, that's what helps you to fall asleep.
Okay. And so what do you do then to do that?
What's the best way?
Heaps of different ways.
I have a little lavender spray.
Yeah.
But I don't think it works really.
Well, I think you probably need industrial size, mate. You have a lot going on.
No, Muireann will tell you that, I do.
You have a lot going on. Well, there's different ways that you can, and there's lovely ways that I work with lavender. I tell you, when I was bundling up these yesterday, I was half asleep on the couch doing it. But one lovely thing you can do is you can make little bundles for your wardrobe, or even inside your pillowcase.
Okay. Oh, inside the pillowcase. You can. See, I love this. I have this in my suitcase.
Yeah.
I've one of them in my suitcase that I keep all the time.
So when you're coming home and all the stuff is rotten,
you just go. It smells of lavender.
Smells beautiful. Ideal thing to do though is to pick your lavender on a dry day. If you pick it when it's a bit damp, it's going to go a bit mouldy. It's not going to smell great. Pick it when it's dry, and you can pick these lovely little flowers, the petals off it, and stick them into a little bag. We tend to get these with jewellery and stuff like that. And people tend to have these little pouches knocking around, and you can then pop that into either your pillowcase. You can pop it into like that, your suitcase, into your drawers with your clothes in it, or hang it in your wardrobe, and it'll help everything to smell nice. It also helps to keep bugs away, which is great.
Moths and bugs away.
Yeah. You can also make the likes of a sleepy, dreamy tea. I tend to make this with some lavender.
How do you make that? What do you
literally, I put a good rule of thumb is a handful of a plant to a pint of water. Pint of boiling water.
A full handful, like
like a hand, like that.
Oh, like small.
So into this I put in a bit of lavender and some chamomile that I grew in my allotment. That was just thrown in there with some boiling water. So do you want to have a try of it there? Have a little taste.
Did you do it? Did you wash it first? Or you just go?
Once it's dried, it's absolutely fine to use.
You're not worried about whatever's been on it. There you go.
Well, the thing is, if you're picking it off the side of the road, I'd be concerned about it. But
if it's in your own garden, you probably know.
You know exactly. So this is the kind of thing you could take in the evening time after a busy day's work, and to help you to wind down a little bit. I know you love it. Tell me you love it.
That's actually very nice. You're not a fan, no? I love these things.
Look at him. He's in it's bliss. It's blissful. Look at him. He's so relaxed. So relaxed.
Can't wait to change this instead of the Nitol.
We've got a hip flask somewhere to add something to.
And then also I would make like a bedroom spray. So for my room, to spray in my room, help me to wind down when I go to bed at night time. And into that, you can literally do equal parts of water, right, and vodka.
What?
Yeah, so this is going...
You have me there now.
The vodka should have gone into that for you.
Yeah.
So this is going to help to hold the smell. It's not going to make everything really wet, and it's going to keep the smell in the air.
Then you just spray that around your room.
You can add them into it there now.
And you need to leave it diffuse for a while.
You can leave it to diffuse for a little while, and every night it's going to get a little bit more and more potent.
Pungent, okay.
And then you can then spritz that.
Careful with bits in that now.
And what's the idea of the vodka in it?
It holds the smell. So if it's just sitting in water over time, it can go a little bit mouldy. The alcohol will hold it and pull the goodness out of it.
And you have your own Forager Phoebe balm that's made of lavender.
I make this one here with daisies and lavender, so that's like a heal-all. So bites and stings and bruises. Lavender's fantastic for taking the itch out of bites.
Your little bite.
Yeah, I've got a little bite on my neck there.
One of the best things. So stick that on you there now. It'll take the itch out almost instantaneously. So I put that. I use that for, especially if you're going on your holidays in the summer. So
this balm would be like if you get little insect bites.
Insect bites, bruises, wounds. You know the saying, fresh as a daisy?
Yeah.
Daisies will take the dead skin off your face.
There you go, fresh as a lavender.
Forager Phoebe, thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
Gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Now, coming up tomorrow, he's boldly gone where no man has gone before. Star Trek's Robert Picardo will be joining us here in the studio.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tomorrow also marks Leaving Cert Results Day, and we'll not only have advice for those students on what to do next, but discussing how to safely celebrate
I'd say he's at Comic-Con. Comic-Con's on this weekend.
Yes, that's it. Ireland's self-confessed worst cook, Elaine Crowley. She's going to be in the kitchen. Good luck to the crew. Talk to you later. Bye.